Welcome to another episode of Top Rope Talk. I am the sniper himself, Denzel Sniper, here with the newest member to the Top Rope crew, Sean Russey, the MLB NFL sports agent, here to talk some wrestling shit with you. But before Monday Night Raw comes on here in about 25 minutes. With that being said, like to welcome everybody to a new episode. Stay live with us. Actually, let me get this off real fast. So you're coming to us live from Sideline Sports. Check in with us with all of our great shows. We've got the Sideline Sports Show going on tomorrow night. Also on Wednesday, Confidential, as well as the Gauntlet Presents Picked Off. So tune in for our Week 8 picks. Also Thursday, myself and the sports agent here for the Sports Insiders. And of course, Friday, the Gauntlet. So with that being said, Sean, what's going on tonight, buddy?
No, everything's good. Got a busy night between Raw, the series, Monday Night Football. Busy night.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get right to it. So it has already been determined. It's in the books. It's in the cards. This coming Saturday night main event, Jey Uso will face CM Punk to determine the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. So, who do you have to win? Who do you think is going to win?
This is a tough one because I feel like whoever wins is going to be turning here. It makes a lot of sense, I guess, for Punk to win because then you kind of extend the Rollins storyline if he's behind the reason the Vision turned on Rollins. But if Uso wins, I think it kind of signals that Rollins is out past WrestleMania and we're going to go with the Bloodline storyline while we wait for Seth to heal up. But I think either winner is turning on here at the end of the match.
So you have the winner. Okay, so you have the winner turning heel. And we've kind of been smelling it from Jey Uso here in recent weeks, maybe even recent months. But CM Punk, because this actually reminds me of the time when he already was a heel, but remember when he joined Nexus and then that led to his WWE title win?
And like we've talked about on the Thursday show, there was rumors about a part 2 to that triple threat match. Putting Punk back with Heyman in the Vision keeps that alive as well.
That's where I was actually going with that one. If CM Punk makes some sort of deal with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to lead the Vision and be their World Heavyweight Champion, but also at the same time, everything is still setting up for Braun Breaker to eventually be champion, So at one point, they're going to knife Punk in the back anyway.
Yeah, I think we're on the long burn with Breaker. I think it would be after 43, maybe like SummerSlam. But I think like you've said in the past, I think you got a lot of Roman, Punk, and Rollins, and apparently Uso is going to play some role in this. Before you kind of get to Breaker's time, I think putting the belt on Breaker with all this unfinished storylines from the last couple of years would kind of be a disservice to him.
It would, and then also not only that, but it actually would make sense in at least for the time being, because the Vision is heavily assumed because we are this close to War Games and we have yet to even have even an iota of who's going to be in that War Games match. I think we can safely say the Vision is going to be in it. Also, the Usos are going to be in it as well. Who else do you suspect could be in that match?
I think you could see, obviously, the winner possibly joins the Vision side, and you have Roman on possibly one Uso side. Fatu, I know, is out with some non-wrestling injury, but they're saying he should be back. I wouldn't mind seeing like Zayn, Fatu, Roman, and Jimmy versus, the Vision, with Punk and the addition of Jey Uso just being upset at his family.
Okay. So Jey Uso joining the side of the Vision. Definitely. That definitely would turn some heads on that one. We have yet to see what's going on. That Saturday night main event, that's coming up here in about 2 weeks, right?
This Saturday, actually, November 1st.
That's right. It is this Saturday. Okay. Yep. So the Saturday night main event coming up this Saturday, we will be determining a new World Heavyweight Champion. On to our next topic real fast. So I don't know if you've seen it, anyone else out there. or if you've seen it also, Sean. But the WWE recently just tweeted out a cryptic tweet video suspected of a returning superstar. Whom can it be? To those who haven't seen it, it was the typical, WWE had the dramatic music, and it showed somebody walking. It showed just their feet. They appear to have on dress pants with socks and dress shoes. Some people suspect it to be Gunther, but Gunther doesn't wear socks, with his dress wear. Who indeed could this be? It couldn't be Andrade because they just let him go.
With everything they've thrown at us lately, it could literally be anything. I did see a little bit. I didn't see the video itself, and apparently a few more have popped up. But if it's Brock Lesnar and he has anything to do with this whole Vision storyline, I mean, this whole thing could get really wild here tonight.
It could very well, but also at the same time, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. I mean, is it really a return? Because Brock Lesnar already came back and beat Cena.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to tell because you know how they go with their, he's back. 2 weeks off is a return.
You know what? When it comes to Lesnar, yeah, I mean, I could see that. There's he's returning and everything, and it's like, well, we just saw him like demolish Cena again. So is it really a return? Fans wouldn't take it as that. WWE may treat it as that way, but it could be anyone. It could be. If it is Gunther, it would make sense, seeing as Cena's final match is going to come against him at the December Saturday Night Main Event. So, more to come on that one. But we actually have two new segments. Top Rope Flashback, brought to you by Sean Russey himself. We actually are going to go back in time to 1998. The havoc that was Halloween Havoc. DDP versus Goldberg. So a bit of a backstory here. DDP had won War Games. He won Fall Brawl War Games to determine the number one contender to Goldberg's WCW World Heavyweight Championship. DDP won the match to set up the super fight. Now, I had an interesting backstory because DDP was partially responsible for Goldberg coming into wrestling. DDP is great even to this day at building bridges and making those connections. So the event comes along, and they have the intros. They come out there. Michael Buffer announces both wrestlers. Everyone's on their feet. Everyone's excited. And the bell rings. They circle each other. They lock horns. They tumble to the outside of the ring. And then pay-per-view screen goes black. Everyone's like, whoa, what is going on? And then those who had ordered it on pay-per-view, it went on to the next event or movie that had happened. And the backstory behind that was the Hogan Warrior Part 2 match. The match before it ran a little too long. Actually ended up being the worst match on the card. But it ran a little bit too long. And this is, okay, for today's generation that don't remember pay-per-view, basically this is what happens with pay-per-views. Pay-per-views, they have an allotted time slot, There's movies, there's boxing matches, there's wrestling events, there's all kinds of stuff, right? Well, there's an allotted time slot, and that WCW Halloween Havoc event had a 3-hour time slot. When it comes to pay-per-view is very strict. So at the 59 mark, the 59-minute mark, it's whatever you're watching is off the air, and it's on to the next movie or whatever, because people paid to watch that movie or whatever it was that was coming up next. So anyway, what ended up happening was WCW actually ended up having to refund everyone. WCW lost a lot of money off of this. They actually ended up having to refund everyone in the nation who ordered Halloween Havoc. And the next night on Monday Nitro, they actually ended up showing the match from Halloween Havoc. They actually ended up showing the match that took place the night before. So, Sean, your thoughts on this turmoil that happened?
No, and it's for me, especially for current generation fans, DDP then had Daniel Bryan type momentum behind him. And I think it was probably, obviously it was considered Goldberg's one of his biggest matches to date at that point, based on who he had faced. But I think it was really considered DDP's. It was supposed to be his coming out moment, whether he was going to win or lose. It was supposed to be his coming out moment in pay per view. And like you mentioned, the Hogan Warrior match went long, and whether that was politics of them being upset that they were not the main event, which they weren't for a title anyway, so they shouldn't have been. But we've kind of seen that play out with Hogan before, and Warrior as well. So
Hmm.
the fact that they went long didn't surprise me. And like you said, pay per view is very strict. The fact that they were just starting the match is to me more reason they got cut off. I think if pay per view felt they had maybe 60 seconds or 2 minutes left, they would get that, and that's the most you'll get. But it's because it looks like it's coming to a close. Like you said, Buffer had just gotten finished. They basically got one hold in, and the screen went black, and then you're forced to give away what was still considered Goldberg's best wrestling match for free on Monday.
Yeah, and you know, and it still actually ended. It actually still actually turned out a little bit better as far as a silver lining goes, because they really could have just went to both wrestlers and said, "Hey, something messed up. You guys have only got 3 minutes out there. Okay, Goldberg, just nail them and get it over with. Just run over DDP. You know." And they could have gotten a squash match,
No,
and
and I think
which really would have done damage to DDP's character and momentum.
I think they thought because of the numbers they were doing that pay per view was going to just go ahead and give them a couple minutes. But the fact that you still did the full entrances, you didn't rush down through the entrances. They kind of tripped over their own foot there. I think if you put them in the ring immediately, just shorten the entrances, then maybe you get some sort of buffer. But they didn't try to rush it at all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, looking at that whole thing and seeing as they had to refund everybody in the nation and they lost a lot of money, me personally, I thought that compensation should have came out of Hogan's own pocket, seeing as it was on him.
Yeah, I
If,
mean, yeah, him and the Warrior were known for doing that stuff to younger guys, and DDP, age-wise, may have been close in age, but he was a younger guy in terms of wrestling.
it was. He was absolutely. I was like, you know what? That right there, that should have come. Like, if WCW had to lose money to refund everybody, Hogan should have given some of that money back in his contract, because we knew
Vince
he
would
was.
have given them both pink slips.
Yeah, yeah. If it was WWF, Vince would have cut him. He would have cut them. But it was Eric Bischoff, it was WCW, it was Ted Turner. They obviously wanted to keep those guys around, in which that's cool, that's their decision. But Hogan and Warrior, they should have they should have told them, yo, this money is going to come out of your contract, and there was nothing to I mean, there's nothing legally wrong with that. They blatantly cost the company a lot of money. So it's like, no, we are going to take this out of out of your contract, out of your paychecks. And in my honest opinion, there's no way to really fight it in court. You know what I'm saying? You were directly responsible for the company losing money. So it is what it is. Like, the rules.
100%.
And so on our second part of our top rope flashback, so you wanted to touch on a Monday Night Raw in 2003. Chris Jericho faced RVD for the WWE Intercontinental Championship not once. Now, I had forgotten about this, and I'd watched Monday Night Raw WWE all through 2003. It was the year before I left for the military. But yeah, you want to shine some light on this? Because this one here got by me.
Yeah, so Stone Cold was actually the GM at this point. He had the neck injury and he was still part of the show, but he wasn't an active wrestler. RVD started the night with the title. They were the main event. Jericho quickly in the first match, I think 6 to 7 matches in, hits a low blow, 1, 2, 3. Something we'd never see. The GM comes out and goes, "No, I actually saw that. Restart the match, but drop the cage." So Jericho wins the title. 6 to 7 minutes later, frog splash off the top of the cage. RVD wins the title back. And the show wraps up. And I only bring that up because I don't think it's going to happen Saturday. But if we don't get a turn on Saturday, I could see them quickly going to Breaker on Monday, and whoever wins Saturday is going to lose, within 48 hours.
Gonna lose the breaker. Yeah, I mean, whoever wins, if the turn, yeah, you're right. If the turn doesn't happen, they could immediately lose to breaker on Monday. In which, if it's Punk, that's that's really messed up because that's too short world heavyweight title reigns this year.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it really depends, I guess, what they want to keep alive here. Do you want to keep the Punk Rollins story alive? Do you go with the healthy bloodline story where at least Jay and Roman are around and it looks like, knock on wood, they'll be here through WrestleMania season? I think that plays a lot into whatever they decide to pull the trigger on Saturday.
Yeah, indeed. And then this will indeed set up the road to Survivor Series. I know they better get on it real quick because this is a big event that's happening out in San Diego at Petco Park. I think it's Petco Park out there. And they have to get rolling. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some matches begin to comprise of the card of Survivor Series right now, even though we have a Saturday night main event coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and those have usually been really good jumping points in terms of pushing angles a little bit more forward than even on Monday or Friday show has been doing. So it'll be interesting to see because I think they'll push a lot on Saturday in terms of where we're going to get towards the end of the month. Like you said, you've got you still have at least one women's War Games match to figure out. The way they're acting with the MFTs on SmackDown, you got 2 men's matches coming at you.
Indeed. 1 second. Because we do have a few minutes left. 1 second. All right. And so, with that being said, all done. So with that being said, on to our finish or DQ segment to wrap up this episode of Top Rope Talk. Finish or DQ? Drew McIntyre will defeat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at Saturday Night Main Event. What do you think?
No, I'm going to go DQ on this one. I think Cody's going to continue to hold the title.
Okay. Interesting. I'm actually going to go finish. I think this is it. I think this is when Drew crosses that mountaintop, man. Now it may be due to some outside interference and could lead to a new feud with Cody Rhodes and somebody else.
I was gonna say, do you think we see him finally pull the trigger on a second Claymore through the announce table, and maybe that's what gets him over?
Yeah, because it shouldn't have happened. It should have happened the first time. I've never known of Drew McIntyre to let a referee get in. He had the match won. I've never known of Drew McIntyre letting a referee get in the way for something that was legal, by the way. It was legal.
And if you realize, every time he hits Cody, he goes back to that same, like he's, in a heavy debate if we're going to continue to finish this or not.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he finally pulls it off, Saturday and does finish it if they get outside the ring again.
Yeah, indeed. So with that being said, thank everybody for this episode, for tuning into the episode of Top Rope Talk. Tune in to Monday Night Raw. I know I'm going to have all 3 of them going on. I'm going to have Monday Night Raw going. We'll also have Monday Night Football in the World Series as well. I'm going to have 2 on my laptop and 1 on the TV. And tune in tomorrow night for the Sideline Sports Show. Of course, Wednesday night, we've got Cup Fidential. We'll be talking about the World Series. And then also not Top Rope Talk. The Gauntlet Presents picked off. So our week, what we should get off of? Week 7? Week 8? Week 8? Okay.
Week 8,
yeah, it'll be our Week 8 picks. And then also Thursday, you'll see myself and Sean back for the Sports Insiders. And of course, Friday, the Gauntlet. So for the Sports Agent, I am Denzel Snipes, and we will see you all next week.